So it is Friday morning. I have a day off, so I am so looking forward to diving into reading today. So it is the first day of the Off the Grid Readathon, and the idea behind the Off the Grid Readathon, which I will have the information down below in the description, is basically that you set aside time specifically for reading, time in which you turn away your phone, you put your phone in like a different room or something if you need to, with the idea in mind that a lot of us often get distracted from reading because of like wanting to check notifications or something like that. So I took that a little bit too literal this morning because I locked myself out of my apartment without my phone there while wearing slippers and just wearing this like light layer, whereas it's quite cold outside. But luckily I do live in an apartment building, so I got into the building quite easily. That part was easy because we do have some like people who are constantly here, especially now with lockdown. I'm sure I could have gotten quite a lot of people to let me into the building. But then we got to the part of the apartment itself, because I have this annoying door where if you don't have a key you cannot enter into the apartment, even if it is not locked. And yeah, it clearly wasn't locked, because that would have been impossible, because that would have meant that I would have had the key with me. So I had to go up to the apartment of the neighbor that let me in order to ask them for their phone. And luckily I do remember the phone number, and luckily I know my mother's cell phone number by heart, so I was able to get her to give me the spare key. But so, great start to my day off, like nice casual chill way to start my Friday off, right? But so my goals for today, so the Off the Grid Readathon is often called like the most chill readathon out there, because there are no challenges. There's nothing that you don't need to even finish a book in order to succeed in this. You don't need to fit in with certain prompts. You don't need to have Instagram challenges, vlogging challenges, or any of those things. You can participate as much or as little as you want, and it always runs for 3 days. And on that Friday, it's also not necessarily the idea that you read the entire day, for example. You know, it's not like taking the day off is a requirement or something like that. You can just start in the evening whenever you're able to, and so it's a quarterly readathon. So even if you've missed this edition because I only just told you about it, then you can still participate in the next editions of this readathon. This will be the first time that I'm personally taking part, and while I don't necessarily have a whole lot of problems with social media distractions while reading, I do also spend a lot of time on social media that could be spent more wisely elsewhere. And I do also prefer like shorter readathons, like weekend long readathons. Like I either like them very short or I like them long, for instance spread out over a month, because a week usually means like the week-long readathons often do have certain goals set out for them, and I can never meet those goals, so that kind of frustrates me. But so the Off the Grid Readathon sounds perfect for me. So, day 2 of Off the Grid Readathon. It is Saturday, and I need to keep reminding myself of that because since I took a holiday yesterday, I really feel like It is Sunday today, but it's not, it's Saturday. So I was able to cross off everything that I officially put on the list, but so I mentioned that I might want to try and get groceries in yesterday, and that didn't end up happening. So that's the one thing that is going to have to move into today. For today I don't have a well-established plan yet of what I actually want to achieve today. Definitely I need to get in another chapter of Don Quixote. So basically what I'm doing at the moment is during the week I am reading 2 chapters a day from Monday until Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the weekend period, I am reading 1 chapter only so that I can kind of focus more on other reads at that point in time. Secondly, I also continued on with Elantris, but my update for Elantris will be in my other reading vlog, my Elantris specific one. And then, so just to specify, I did get to the 340 page mark. I am starting part 2. And then the final read for yesterday, and the one that is going to be the most difficult to update you guys on, is The Death of Francis Bacon by Max Porter. So this story definitely made me interested in figuring out more about Francis Bacon, the artist, because I didn't really know his art. I really had to look up his art in advance before going into it. I would definitely highly recommend you do that if you haven't been introduced to Francis Bacon's art. If you want to go into this book, I would definitely say look up some of the imagery so that at least you have a sort of like atmospheric reference point when it comes to this book. If you want to look into a little bit more of his life, or like what his art was all about and things like that, that might definitely also help you. If you're a Francis Bacon fan, if you're a Francis Bacon expert, then this one is definitely going to be interesting as well. For a Francis Bacon newbie, the way that I was, I will say that I read a Goodreads review, a very short one, that really summarized it well, and that said that it had its moments of brilliancy combined with what the fuck am I reading? So it is a very short one. It is basically Max Porter's attempt at painting through language and using the written form to make a painting. So it's not a description of a painting in writing, it is painting with language. And so you can imagine that that's going to result in some sort of very experimental writing style, but also very beautiful writing style. And I will definitely say that the language is superb in this one. The language is amazing, and the atmosphere evoked by the language is really up there. It's really a very nice atmosphere. At times it's very much read like a sort of fever dream, because it is written from the perspective of Francis Bacon, who is lying on his deathbed, who is coming to terms with the fact that he will be dying, who's coming to terms with his career, with the way he has lived his life. And all of that is not that clear cut within the story. We know that he's dying because that is very clearly put at the back of this story. But what we see in those different paintings that Max Porter is portraying is a very restless soul, a very scattered brain, a very intense experience. But a lot of the time that just went way over my head. So I completely agree, it has its moments of brilliancy. Towards the middle part of this book, I was really engrossed. I was really getting a lot out of what I was reading. I was really making a lot of connection, having that very visual experience, seeing a lot of Max Porter himself in the novel as well. And I was really thinking that, you know, that rough start I was having with it was turning around, and I was finally getting at the novel, and that it was going to end up being an amazing experience. But towards the end of it, it really lost me again. It had its moments, but altogether it didn't shine through or something like that. And I wouldn't even know what to rate it, because it's such a unique experience, you know. But so yeah, that is it for my reading yesterday. And so I did also do the 7-minute workout as I said I was going to do, and I removed the Christmas tree. So all in all, a productive day, I would say. But I will also say that I still got quite distracted by social media. I did still need to edit the video, for example, which I hadn't remembered, but then I also, when I was like posting to Twitter about my new video, I definitely did get caught up in the spiral again and things like that. So I think all in all, I still took quite a lot of breaks yesterday, and I don't necessarily see that changing today. We'll definitely try. I will definitely use the Force app more yesterday because I only used it during my sort of like first reading session, my Don Quixote reading session, and so I do want to put it on more frequently today when I'm doing my reading to absolutely make sure that I'm not combining it with other stuff. But so for today I don't have any set goals as much as I said, so once again, one chapter of Don Quixote needs to get read. This is always my daily goal during the weekends. I do definitely want to continue a little bit more with Elantris, though I don't have any fixed goals. And then I'm not entirely sure, so either I'm going to dive deep into Elantris today and really get quite some progress with that one, maybe even try and get to like the next part, but that is quite a lot, you know, that would be more than 100 pages, so probably not. Or I'm going to start a third book. But I also need to film 2 videos and I need to go to the grocery store and do the 7-minute workout, of course. 7-minute workout yesterday was focused on the abs. It was a struggle to get through, but I'm very happy that I stuck through with it. And I must say that I'm feeling, my shoulders are feeling a little bit better these days, so it does also help to exercise every day. You know, physical therapy has always been telling me that I need to exercise more, but I always, for some reason, don't. So yeah, I definitely need to make sure that I stay on this 7-minute workout regime now. It's only 7 minutes a day. So it is somewhere this afternoon. What time is it? It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I have not gone grocery shopping yet and it's snowing right now, so I don't know. I mean, I can survive the weekends because I still, like, I went grocery shopping. Like, I did go on Saturday, but also went to like the mini market somewhere in the middle of the week, so I did get a couple of things as well at that point in time. So I don't need to go grocery shopping today, and considering the weather, I probably won't. I really don't feel like going through that weather because, you know, I don't have a car, so I need to walk through the grocery store, and it isn't that far, but it also means that I need to get my trolley through that muck because it isn't really forming any snow, so it's just going to be like gross. So I think I'll just pass for today. I'll go somewhere during the week then. But so in terms of my goals for today, I have read my chapter of Don Quixote, which I will say had quite some blatant racism in it, which was very much it was very much like, it really changed my opinion about one of the characters. And of course I know that within its like historical context and whatever, it's like understandable, but it can be understandable and still really disgust you, because really it was like, there had been mild cases of racism already. There have been these sort of like stereotypical views on, like, there had been this sort of like stereotypes around Arabs where they were saying like you cannot trust Arabs and things like that, but this one was really quite gross. Apart from that very unsettling and disgusting opinion that Sancho Panza shared within this chapter, I did still like where this chapter is taking, so we're definitely moving further within the idea of this sort of overarching plot. And now there's sort of the people in Don Quixote's entourage are kind of pretending to they're kind of pretending that Don Quixote's vision of the world is the real version, so they're kind of playing along in order to placate Don Quixote and be able to bring him home with them. But so apart from that, I've mainly been focusing on Elantris so far. I've just filmed 2 videos that I needed to film today, so I have that out of the way. I've read some 40 pages in Elantris so far, and I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to continue with Elantris now or whether I'm going to pick up another read. I think at this point in time I'm just craving like a hot chocolate or something like that, just with the snow falling outside my window. And even though like it's not a picturesque scene, because you know, you saw the clip, I have a half constructed building next to me, so it's like industrial snow scene. That's weirdly enough, when people are giving you images of a nice snowy day, they never give you an industrial snow scene. So yeah, it's not the most picturesque views that I have currently, but it's still making me feel like having a cup of hot chocolate. So I'm going to prepare myself one, and then I'll see what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to continue on with Elantris or whether I'm going to be starting either Orfeo or a darker shade of magic. So check in with you guys later for more info on that. I have definitely been enjoying using the Forest app, so I've used it 2 times a day, so 2 times for 60-minute periods, though when I was reading Elantris I did continue on after the 1-hour period was over. But so I'm just taking a small break now and then getting back into it. Yeah. So it is Wednesday evening, usually my rounding off of the vlog time, but I finished Elantris, so the Elantris reading vlog will actually be first. And hopefully some other Elantris video that I still need to research a little bit, so I'm hoping that I have it up before this reading vlog, in which case I'll link it up above, otherwise there's still one coming. But so yeah, I am probably extending this one for an extra week, this reading vlog. But so reading updates. I cannot make them too long, because if this reading vlog is going to last longer than a week, then this video is going to be way too long otherwise. But so yeah, I have read the short story The Hope for Elantris in Arcanum Unbounded. Very cheesy story. However, this book also gives the sort of like explanation about why The Hope for Elantris was written, and it's a nice story. And it's a nice background story, but the story itself really isn't all that worth it. However, it's also only 25 pages, but those 25 pages are some of the few cases in which I really had to struggle through a Brandon Sanderson work. I have continued with Don Quijote de la Mancha. I read my compulsory chapter, so I am where I need to be, so that is on track for finishing it before the end of the month. And then I am halfway through at this point in Orfeo by Richard Powers, which I am thoroughly enjoying. I have found, but I mean, I cannot really necessarily, yeah, I think I have read enough cases of it to say that I really like that. What I really like is books that talk about music, that kind of talk about the experience of somebody listening to music, but also about the story behind the musical piece, the way in which this piece came about, the way in which it was written, or whatever the background story behind the piece. I really love that. So it's something that Murakami, for example, does a lot of times in his book, because he uses a lot of jazz or classical music influences within his book, and so he will often have one of his protagonists talk about a particular piece that is of interest to their character or their development or whatever is taking place within the book. And I very much liked it in The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto, where it also did that, but then for fictional music. But so in Orfeo it does that as well. It looks at certain classical pieces that have had a big impact on our protagonist, and I just love that. I just really eat that up. But so in Orfeo we're following Peter Els, who is a music teacher, but he's like geneticist as a hobby. But so one day when sort of like cops, I think, show up on his doorstep because of an emergency call that he places, and they see his lab, that kind of raises some red flags. And so at some points, you know, he really is investigated by some people from the FBI or something like that, and he starts to panic, and so he runs off. But so the story tells that story while at the same time harkening back to his sort of formative years, the way, the influence that certain pieces have had on his life, and, you know, telling his life story in that way. And I just really love the writing style. It's such an engaging writing style. This is my second Richard Powers, and I was kind of unsure whether it was just going to be the over story that I loved so much, or whether I was going to have the same experience with Orfeo or not. But Orfeo really immediately hooked me. I was immediately intrigued. I really loved the flow, the narrative voice, so I would definitely highly recommend you guys to check out Richard Powers, because before the Overstory I had personally never heard of Richard Powers, even though he has quite a lot of books, so I'm sure that that is also just down to me, for example, that I am just not aware of his books, but I am definitely enjoying them a whole lot. And luckily he has quite a few, so after this one I can also dive into those. But so his most lauded ones are Orfeo and the Overstory, because the Overstory landed on the shortlist for the Booker Prize and it won the Pulitzer Prize, and Orfeo was on the long list, I think, for the Booker Prize at some point. So yeah, I am gonna leave it at that because this is not a wrap up yet, because I still have half of this book to go, and that is actually what I'm going to be doing now. So it's a Friday, which means I feel like it's cheat day. I think cat just moved and that made my lighting change. I think The Rock calls it Sunday cheat day, but it is definitely for me Friday cheat day. So tonight I'm gonna have takeout, but I also had some nice lunch because donuts are the best. I don't have donuts very often because we usually just have like plain donuts here in Belgium, and the like supermarket variant isn't necessarily that great, so it always just makes me wish I had better donuts. But so we recently got a new donut place in my city, and so trying it out now. So it is Saturday morning, and it is the 23rd or so of the month, and I have finished 2 books of my TBR at this point in time. So I just finished Orfeo by Richard Powers. Sadly, this did not turn out to be a 5-star read. It's like a 3-star read or something like that. I am kind of happy because I watched, I could only find like 1 review of this book on BookTube, but I will link that one down below actually. It's a very short one, it's just like 4 minutes. It does a whole lot of better job than I will be doing in explaining this book, so in case you are interested, go and check that one out as well. But so I did like all of the talks about, the way in which he describes pieces of art, pieces of music, and their origins and all of those aspects to the novel, but I found myself not really caring all that much about Peter Elsa's past, and I felt like we were spending a lot more time in his past than in his present, and I was more intrigued. I would have liked a bit of a better balance between, his sort of like musical side and the whole exploration of his musical influences, and then his sort of physicist side, the hobby that he's now exploring, and kind of maybe even looking at, how he developed that knowledge and all of those things. But that side of it really was quite reduced, and as a result, when we get to the end and there's a little bit more explanation about his experiments, I was also kind of lost in the whole abstractness of what he was trying to do. So in the end, yeah, it's just a 3-star read for me. But so yeah, it's close to lunchtime now. I kind of want to get quite a lot of reading done. On the other hand, I need to film a video at the very least. I need to film my February TBR so I can edit that one and maybe have that come out then on Wednesday probably. And then I want to do my Elantris and disability video, but I need time to read all of the annotations on Brandon Sanderson's website, and I'm just not convinced that I can do that in time to film that video this weekend. So it's gonna have to wait longer. I won't be able to bring it out, maybe not even in the month of January still. But so I am kind of struggling in that case to make up an extra video because I don't have enough then, if I'm gonna stick to the 3 videos a week schedule. So maybe I'll do 2 videos 1 week. I don't know yet. I don't know what my decision there is going to be. But so I need to pick up a new book now. And so I do still have 2 books left on my TBR that I haven't started yet. Yay! 1 week away from the end of the month. And so that is A Darker Shade of Magic and The Inland Sea by Madeline Watts. Part of me wants to get The Inland Sea done because I kind of think that is going to be more of a struggle. On the other hand, that is also my lowest priority in terms of what I want to get done. So I think I am going to start A Darker Shade of Magic now, and that is going to be my read. Hopefully that is going to be a fast-paced read, and then I can get quite a lot of pages done in hopefully that's going to be a fast-paced read, because I kind of want that sort of like speedy read, that sort of real rush of wanting to finish as much pages as possible within a day, because really I've only felt it this month with Elantris, and so I would like for that to happen as well with A Darker Shade of Magic. Sunday afternoon. I am a little over halfway through A Dark Shade of Magic. Now, so that means that it is as fast-paced as I was hoping it was going to be, so I can definitely fly through this one. Part of me wants to finish it today, but on the other hand, I also watch Gymnastics with a Friend every Sunday afternoon, and every Sunday evening, and I do still need to edit a video for today, I think. But I've totally not been feeling like doing it, so I might actually be skipping an upload today because, you know I have one video too little for this month. And so it was supposed to be like the 31st of January when I was going to skip an upload. But, you know, I'm really not feeling like it today. So part of me is thinking maybe I should just skip it for a day, you know, and just allow for that. On the other hand, I know myself, if I start skipping uploads, then I will become the irregular uploader that I used to be. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. That's kind of the difficulties that I'm facing at the moment with trying to decide whether I'm going to allow myself to be a little bit lazy at the moment or not. But so yeah, I am about halfway through this book. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. Let me say, I'm flying through it. It's fast paced. I'm intrigued. For the fact that we are 200 pages long, I do feel like not a whole lot has happened. So that's just weird with me flying through it at that pace. You know, I do kind of feel like the story has only really started taking place in the last 50 pages or so, but I am saying that you know, now we definitely are in the midst of the story. The story has definitely taken off, so I'm hoping for it to be even more fast-paced now and for shit to actually go down now. But so I am kind of intrigued. On the other hand, it is also, yeah, I don't know, it's just a weird one, I think, because I cannot really say that it's plot driven because, as I said, I don't really feel like so much has happened neither, nor do I feel like we've had such a character exploration that it is character focused. So I'm not entirely sure what my experience is with this book, and I don't know what my experience is going to be at the end of it. I do think that it's going to be one of those series that I will want to continue. I mean, at this point in time, definitely, I know I want to continue. I've already looked up the second book, but I cannot buy it because of my credit system. But you know, I definitely do think that I want to pick up the remainders of these books quickly. But it is going to be one of those books that, for me, is going to be purely about entertainment, I think. So in that sense, it won't be a new favorite. In that sense, it'll be a nice reading experience, which is also perfectly fine, by the way. But it's not going to be something that's going to land on my new favorite list of the year, for example. So that's currently where I'm at with that. I don't really have a lot of theories to make neither, for example, which I like doing in fantasy books. And since I've just come off of Elantris, where, you know, a lot of my experience and my enjoyment with reading that is like looking at foreshadowing and stuff like that. And there is foreshadowing here, don't get me wrong. There are certain things that you can build up, but not a whole lot. The magic system itself also isn't all that clear. I do like the idea, the world building idea of the parallel Londons and the idea of Londons being connected through gates and the gates being shut and them now all being in isolation. I like this idea of this sort of connected world at the beginning, and then for the past 3 centuries or something they have been left to their own devices and have grown further and further apart from one another. I think that's a very interesting concept to dive into, which I hope we're gonna do something with. I do definitely want to see Black London and what Black London looks like, and, you know, the whole mystery of them not knowing anything about the way in which Black London has evolved. So I'm kind of hoping that we're going to be up for a huge surprise when we finally get to Black London, that it's going to be unlike anything that they had imagined up until this point. So there are definitely a lot of elements that I like, but on the other hand, there's also nothing that's transcending. You know, I'm just basically just going through it, flying through it because I want to know what happens, while at the same time I feel like not a whole lot is happening in the first 200 pages. But so hoping for a change in that, and for it to kind of counter, and for it to kind of prove me wrong in saying that it's just gonna be a read that is entertaining but nothing more. So prove me wrong, please. Alright guys, I finished A Dark Shade of Magic, finished it yesterday evening, so on Monday night, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. I think I ended up giving it a 4-star. You know, it might have been somewhat on the generous side, but I decided to reward the fact that it was so fast-paced and that I flew through it. However, so it was super fast-paced, I flew through it. I definitely want to continue on. I am definitely intrigued enough. However, there are also things that I didn't necessarily love about this one, and I wasn't really engaged with any of the characters, for example. So while it is a super fast read, I think that the world building was a little bit shallow compared to what I would have liked to see. It felt a little bit more like there wasn't a lot of depth behind the idea. I loved the concept of the different Londons, but I felt like there was not a whole lot of thought put into the effects of the difference, like of the amount of magic that was in these worlds on the way in which the worlds have developed, because they've basically been separated from one another for centuries already at this point. And so I would have liked a little bit more depth to that sort of whole idea, but perhaps we'll explore that more in further books. And what I also didn't necessarily engage with is the characters. As I said, I feel like I have no connection to any of these characters. Could have easily they can easily change out the characters for next books, and I won't really care because I really haven't established any sort of a attachment to any of the characters. But apart from that, I really think it is a nice fast-paced read. It surprised me a lot of times. There were a lot of times where I was thinking like, oh, are they going to do that? But she didn't do that. She really did go a different route than what I was expecting it to do, or what I thought was kind of like stereotypical to do, so I'm very happy about that. There is one element that I am going to be on the lookout for in the next books, because there is actually some disability representation in here. However, it is only introduced like very late in the book. It's only introduced for like a second, and nothing else is talked about with that disability representation. It seems to be a clue towards where that character is maybe evolving to. I do have my ideas about what is going to be happening with that one, but what I don't like about it is that it would have an impact on that character, and we do get POV chapters from that character, and at no point was anything put in those POV chapters that made you go like, huh, what's happening there, or huh, I don't really understand why are they like, there was nothing being hinted at earlier on, and I would have liked to have seen that take place. You know, I would have liked a lot more if we would have had some chapters in that person's perspective in which we had like early clues, so that when that reveal was made later on in the book, we could be like, oh, that's what that was referencing. And so that would have made that reveal a lot more clever, and that reveal a lot more make more sense. I also feel like the reveal is kind of like, I don't really fully believe that the other characters wouldn't realize this, but okay, I'll just skip over that. And I also think that it is quite sad if you're gonna put disability representation to just have it be there, and that's what it feels like in this books for the time being. It's just there as a sort of reveal, as a sort of mysterious element that kind of makes us wonder, like, how did this happen, or can kind of make us like steer towards what we think is going to happen with this character later on. But you know, later books can prove me wrong. If the next books really harken in on, like, if the next books do something with that disability representation, then I'm gonna be happy with that. But otherwise, yeah, I'm just gonna think like, why would you do that? Why would you put it in there just as a plot element? But so yeah, that is going to be it for my reading vlog for this week. I'm ending it early, so I'm ending it basically after Monday's reading time, because I haven't read anything yet today on Tuesday. You know, this reading vlog has been longer than normal reading vlogs. I think this is a nice point in the week on which to end things, and then maybe I'll just follow the schedule from now on, always just start on Tuesday and end on Monday, so who knows. But so I hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog. Definitely let me know what you guys have been reading. Have you been enjoying it? And then I will talk to you guys in the comments. So hope you enjoyed this video, and see you guys for a future one. Bye!